Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel today. I am very excited for this one. It's been a hot minute. I know that I was like, I'm gonna try to get one video up a week and then that failed. But I know it's been a hot minute, but I had to hop on just to be able to share this collection with you. Y'all, if you haven't seen the new Nomad collection, this is the cruise collection, which I am so excited for, not just because if you know me, you know that I love cruising, but I truly think that they have some amazing products here. We're gonna dive into these today. If we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. All right, so let's just chat a little bit about this. Now, there are so many things that I love about this collection. I love that we have a couple face products, and I am so excited that we have not one, but two pretty palettes. And y'all, I'm sure you've all seen all of the pictures on Instagram from the brand. A lot of content creators already have their videos up. I am not the speediest. I'm not the speediest, and that's fine by me. I'm just here for the love of the makeup, y'all. So I do have to say, I'm so pumped to see a all shimmer palette and a matte palette. So we have both the Aurora Cruise, which is the shimmer palette. I'll just pop it up quick here for you. Like I said, I'm sure you've all seen all of the imagery already. And then we have the Coastal Cruise palette. So not only do we have an all matte and an all shimmer, but you have the ability, as the artist and makeup lover that you are, if you're here, I'm sure that you are if you're here watching a makeup video, you have the ability to create your own perfect palette by combining the two, because these have removable pans. Yes, so excited about that. So I also love that it's not just that they remove, but they have a nice bit of space here. If you tend to be one of the unlucky ones, if you're using a magnetic dealy bopper, y'all know what I'm talking about, the magnet. If you're using a magnet and it tends to do more damage than good in your life, hold on, I'm gonna find mine. I don't know where my cute Divina one is, but what I was trying to say is, if you're like me and you go to pull out a pan with one of these magnets, and oftentimes it will like jump out of the pan, sometimes you dig the magnet in, all of these crazy things happen. You also have the ability to just lift this out with, like, oftentimes I'll use the butt end of a tweezer and just lift it out this way. So I love that. Just a little tip from me to you in case you have had some traumatic moments with using a magnet before. But look at these beautiful shimmers. Now, I was gonna come on here and be like, oh, I love the Nomad mattes. And then I was like, wait, but I also love the Nomad shimmers. I will say I have had more consistency in the Nomad mattes than I have in the shimmers, because they honestly have changed their shimmer formula quite a bit. Whether it's like featuring the different oils that they've used. They've had some more slippy, almost like that slightly emollient feel to some of the shadows, especially like the multi-chromes. They've had some shadows that are more of that, what I call like the classic Nomad formula, where it's almost like a sheen with a micro sparkle in it. They've had some that are extra sparkly. So this formula has varied a little bit more, whereas I think the mattes have just always been killer. Like, I've just always really enjoyed them. But we're gonna play with these a little bit today. I'm just gonna do a couple swatches of shades that are just floating my boat right now, and we can kind of get a vibe. Now, I did intend to do 2 eye looks. I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna do that today. We'll see what we end up having time for, but I am gonna put on both of these beautiful Sunrise and Sunset Cruise face palettes. Now, I am optimistic about these because I too have seen all of the gorgeous work from the lovelies on Instagram. I am just hoping that these aren't super shimmery, as in like lots of flecky texture, because y'all know I'm not down for that. But look at this. Ugh! Sunset and Sunrise. So you have the warm and the cool option. I understand that this is sort of like, this is a good time of year to bring out something like this, because if you're like me, and you're in, you know, a cold place right now and you wish you were in the warmth, that's cool, but it's also a way to like pick something up before that season and get full use out of it. But I am just like, I am at the palest of the palest I've ever been. And we'll have to see how this goes on my skin. Okay, I see that the light is changing. Okay, I feel like that's a little bit better, so I apologize if everything was really blown out in the intro, but I think that the light just got much lightier, also known as brighter, as I got started. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive in. Oh gosh, I don't know where to start. I am like so excited about all of this. Now, I will have chapters for you all in case you're here just to like your thoughts on a certain part. I will also say I was sent this in PR. I do have a discount code, which is KEEPBEAUTYREAL. It's not affiliated, so I don't earn a commission from it, but it does, of course, let the brand know that my thoughts were helpful to you, and it encourages them to keep letting me share. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about these color stories. So I feel like I have some thoughts, and I'm gonna wait to use these until the end. But when I look at this, this is definitely a little bit, it's not grungy by any means, but it's a bit softer, a bit more natural tones, a bit more desaturated, whereas this is like Taste the Rainbow, baby. So you definitely have some contrast here in the vibes, which could be good or bad. So I'm gonna hold off on my final thoughts until they are my final thoughts. But first, I think we should swatch some of these shimmers to see what pops out to us. I'm so excited. I'm so sad that I don't even get to wear this for the full day. You guys, I'm going in for my first micro needling session today. Like first pro micro needling. You know, I've done some like at-home cosmetic micro needling, but y'all, 44 is hitting me hard. So I am going to try to do some things to like perk up my skin a little bit. So let me know if you are curious, by the way, to know about that experience. I could share it with you if, I mean, I'm sure there's tons of content on here. It's not like microneedling is a new thing, but let me know if you want to know my thoughts. All right, I'm going to just swatch a few of these out and I'll be back with some swatches. All right, upon first impression, I am very excited about these. I apologize for the bottom swatch. She got my thumb, which is never the best position. So I wanted to try to get a few different like darkness values. I wanted to get a few different shades. So I just picked out a few to kind of start with, but look at this. Okay, so far I'm very excited because I don't see anything chunky monkey. There's nothing that seems like Fallout City. I know that a lot of you, you know, I mean, I don't think any of us enjoy Fallout. I think some of us are more willing to fuss around with things that do tend to have some fallout. I am not one of those. I am not one of those. So we have at the top here Shimmering Pearl, which is that beautiful pinky shade, Dancing Sunlight. Oh, that's just going to be gorgeous for like quick and easy looks for the inner corner. We have, of course, I had to hit the grungy green. We have Tidal Reflections, which just, this is this beautiful, like deep sort of olivey green. And we have Celestial Glint, this nice dusky purple. And then this one here is Harbor Lights. So I feel like we have a few duochromes. We also have some that have that deep, murky, almost black base with a nice glint on the top. These ones, sometimes those black base ones can be that more emollient, slick, almost silicone-y feeling. That is not the way that these feel. I really enjoy this. I want to see what the brand describes these as. 15 radiant shimmers and duochromes. So there aren't any multi-chromes in here, but you do get some nice shift with these. And I think that these are going to be very user-friendly. This is just first thoughts, right? So very excited to try these out. Nothing that stands out to me. You know what? I'm going to take one more because this Mermaid's Tail shade looks like the one that, if anything, might be a little, nope. So this one in the pan looks like it might be a little bit flaky, and it's not at all. So very excited for these. Okay, let's go ahead and do a few of the mattes just so you guys can see. Okay, so while I'm letting my fingers dry off after being cleaned, I do just want to say when I do swatches, it's like realistic. I don't use a primer. I don't wet anything. It's just like swatched straight onto the skin. I want it to look close-ish to what it'll actually look like on your face. Like sometimes it's fun to see the really heavy swatches that have like stencils and all the things, but at the end of the day, I want it to look like what it's going to look like when you play with it with your hard-earned money. If you just buy stuff to swatch it out, that's cool too, but that's not me. And so I want to see what it's going to look like actually when it's used. So I am mostly here to just see the quality of these. So I want to take a few of the shades that might be a little bit more difficult. Also ones that honestly probably I wouldn't use a ton. Open Water is that deep blue. Oh, you guys, my hands are so dry. So this is definitely one of those things that isn't going to necessarily tell us the truth as far as like what the shadow will look like on the skin, but it will let me know if there's anything that's going to be like really patchy. So then I'm taking Silent Abyss, which is the black. And let's go ahead with this Evening Horizon shade. I'm doing all the dark ones just to see if there's any patchiness. I think that that's where you would find that. Now, granted, I never I like truly, it's very rare that I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I've seen be patchy in Nomad's mattes. And I just swatched a bunch of shades other than the black well, the blues. I swatched a lot of the blues because that is probably the most difficult to formulate out of what's in here. And it's also ones that I'm not going to use today because I just don't reach for blues. But you can see we've got some nice smooth shades. My skin is so dry right now. So if they lay down like this and it doesn't look crusty or chalky on my hand, we're good to go. I should also probably wash these ones off before I get sparkle everywhere, so let's go ahead and do that. Also, if you guys see a bunch of chaos behind me, I'm so sorry. I did not want to take the time to clean up and make it look like I have my ish together because I don't usually. Right now I'm in a big like decluttering mode. I know I talked about like wanting to go through a lot of my makeup. I haven't even been doing that. I've been going through like my stash of things that I've just had, and I have been selling some things. I've been gifting some things to people. So I've got a lot of these like piles of stuff behind me. So if you can see that, please enjoy the chaos of reality. But it's like organized in a way that only I would know it's organized, and it really looks like a hot mess. And I was like, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it. Okay, I started out with the good intentions of having this be a fairly short and succinct video. I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit. Also, sorry, I feel like the camera's a little wonky. I had to move all my equipment to teach a class a couple weeks ago, and then when I put it back, it's like not all straight. And you know what? It's fine. So I think I'm gonna start out with my shimmers and then build the mattes around that. The reason for that is I want some of these shimmers to show up as like their true self, because some of them were a little bit like lighter and more thin. I don't want the matte underneath to like shift the color too much, which could be like a good thing if you want the variety of that. Okay, now that I seem to have gotten all the dog hair off of my face, we can begin. So I'm gonna take a flat shader brush and go in with Shimmering Pearl. That's that pinky shade that I did swatch before. Now, as usual, especially the first look I ever do with the palette is always just done with the way that I normally apply my eyeshadow, which is on a damp brush. So I'm gonna just take a little bit of Fix Plus. I do have a Wayne Goss 18 here. Old school, fantastic brush. And I'm gonna put that on almost all of my lid other than the very outer corner. Okay, so on the lid right now, I'm seeing, now granted, I've got 44-year-old eyelids here, but I am seeing this with a little bit more texture than it was on the inside of my taut palm. Is anybody surprised? No, you shouldn't be. The silvery fleck is coming out, like that pearly silver fleck is coming out a little bit more in this, so it is a bit more textured on the eye. I'm also going in like a brave woman and doing this with the rest of my makeup all on, and I don't have a primer on my eyelid. I just have a little bit of concealer like I always usually do. Like I said, it's not that often that I use glitter glue. You guys know that. If it's a formula that has a ton of sparkle that I think is going to have fallout, maybe I will, or if it's something that I feel like might crease on me. But this type of formula from Nomad very rarely creases on me. And so this is the way that I like to do it. Simple and sweet. Oh, I totally just went all the way to the outer part of my eyelid while chatting about the texture of the shadow. That's okay. I'm just gonna layer another color over it. So I just was kind of like trying to leave a little bit of space there, but it's all good. All right, this is a very pretty shade. When the shadow is not hitting the light, you definitely see a bit more of that pink base to the shadow, and then where the light hits it, you get more of that like pearly pink. So this is more pink than I had anticipated it being, but I'm not necessarily mad about it. I am going to take a chance right now to go through and do a little bit of matte shaping before I add in that other shimmer. Let's start with Twilight Time. That's this like mid-tone, it kind of almost matches my shirt. Okay. The train seems to never actually sound off, except for those random times that I sit down to film. I don't know what it is. Going through with the Sigma E36, I tell you what, you guys, I do think that this one got discontinued, but I love this brush so much, so much. It is just the perfect little detailing blender brush. And since this is kind of like a dusky gray, almost like taupey as I layer it over this pink. We're seeing a little bit of purple to it. I'm gonna go above that with the light neutral shade Sand Prince. It literally just is like a sandy, like neutral to warm, just kind of like that eggshell shade. Okay, so then now that I have that, I am gonna take a very small brush. This is the Spectrum and KJH21, and I'm gonna hop back into our shimmers. And there is a deep, like emeraldy shade, this emerald jewel shade, and I'm gonna take that, so that's this one here, and I'm going to put that in my outer corner. I want to give this a little swatch just so you can see it. So it definitely has that blue-green shift. So because when I turn like this, because of my eye shape, this is indirectly lit right now. So you see more of that blue. It won't be until I turn to the side that you see a bit more of the green, which is fine. It's just kind of fun. I just wanted to like add a little bit more color in here, but you know, I really haven't been doing a lot of like dramatic eye looks, I guess I would say. And I wanted to do something with a little bit of fun today, but still just in the realm of something that I would maybe wear right now. I don't know, it just hasn't been my vibe as much. I enjoy working with colorful makeup, but in a softer way. I feel like a lot of the looks that I've seen coming from this collection have been so dramatic. And I know that that's like what's eye-catching. In our world of dopamine addiction right now, it's all about the like wow factor, but I personally am not doing a lot of those. So if you were like me and you're like, I love the colorful things, the pretty things, but I'm not like doing all of the things all the time, then maybe this will show you a way that you can use some of these in a softer way. And I'm just running a little bit of that same shade into the bottom outer corner just to kind of connect that. I'm gonna take Harbor Rose, which is this mid-tone, a little bit warmer pink, and I'm just gonna run that under everywhere other than where I laid down that shimmer. And I'm using the BK Beauty 204. I've really been liking having this like smudgy lower lash brush just to really be able to like pop something on quickly and have it be kind of smudgy, effortless. I do still have my code with BK Beauty, by the way. I know that I haven't been talking about brushes a lot lately, so if you did want to grab anything from them, you can use KEEPBEAUTYREAL, but I have so many brushes and almost all of my brushes have lasted so well. So it's like, I'm still using all the same things. If you guys want to see a brush update on the ones that, you know, I still am reaching for, let me know. But if you're like me and you bought a bunch of good brushes, you probably have a bunch of good brushes. But if you missed out on this one and you like an effortless lower lash line, because this is firm enough that you get some precision with it, but big enough that you can kind of like get a more blown out lower lash line. Okay, that is pretty. That is very pretty. I kind of want to use some of what's in this guy here as our inner corner. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So I really see in here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish shades. So we've got the brighter pink, and then we have actually like a warmer pink here. Oh yeah, we've got a warmer pink, a cooler pink. There's this like mottled section, and then you've got the kind of iridescent duochromatic look, like that iridescent. So looking at what I have on, I think and let's just hit it with the lightest one. And I'm gonna kind of like go hard with this. So I'm just going through with my Refer 12. And I'm just gonna stamp this in. This is dry, by the way. I don't have this brush wet. Oh, that's pretty. Probably should have whacked on a little bit more concealer to do such a strong inner corner. I did not get much sleep last night, so I'm sure I've got some dark under eyes going on right now. Are you able to see that? It's pretty. I don't know if I can zoom you guys in anymore. I feel like you're very far away. Okay, hopefully you can kind of see that. I think I'm gonna dust a little bit of the warmer shade over the top though. This sort of warmer pink, just because this got quite cool toned. We'll just blend the two together. That's a really intense, it's not ultraviolet like that purpley tone. It's a very electric pink, which is really fun. Okay, I was about to go and set my face and put on some mascara, but we have cheek products to put on, and I want to do that first before I set my face. So since I used the really light shade on the inner corner and I used that little warmer pink, I think now we just need to go in fairly hard with the darkest pink. Why not? So I'm gonna do one side with this shade, and we'll do some of the warm tones with the other one. I'm just really curious to see how I feel about this. Whoa, okay. This is one of those that on the brush, I couldn't really see it because the base is very sheer. So I was like, I don't think this is picking up. It totally was picking up. That is really pretty. It doesn't have a ton of fleck to it, which I was worried about. And look how sheer that base is. So I've talked to you over and over again about how I don't like a thick metallic look for a highlighter, because when it isn't right in the light, a lot of times those thick metallic formulas look darker because the base is so much darker and you only see it when it hits the light, which is fine. I don't care about seeing it because I don't want it to recess my cheek because it's so dark, and this doesn't do that. So I was curious to see if this would have that kind of vibe, and it doesn't at all. That's really nice. This is intense. I probably wouldn't have put as much on my brush, but we're going hard just so we can see what it looks like. It isn't overly flecky. Honestly, when I first put it on, I was a little worried because it was starting to almost enhance a little texture, but the funny thing is once I buffed it in and distributed that more and almost placed a little bit more down, now I feel like it actually is pretty blurry. So that's pretty impressive. Let's go ahead and move into this other side. Now, I will be honest, y'all, there is no way I really want to put this one on, but like my skin right now cannot take this deep. That's gonna look wackadoodle. It's gonna look wackadoodle on me. So I'm very excited to try a couple of these once summer is here. Like this one is kind of cool because it actually has like almost like an old gold to it. So this is the focus, the darkest here, and then that more warm gold shade. So I think I'm just gonna take the lightest shade, and I have actually another of the same brush. So we're gonna pop this on here, and it's totally not gonna really necessarily go with what we're wearing, but that's fine. I mean, it goes with the rest of my outfit, but it certainly doesn't go with the eyes. All right, I'm gonna go hard because I'm having that vibe of like the enhanced texture, and I wanna see if I do more, does it change that? You can't see it on the camera probably. It does have a very small micro shimmer to it. I don't see that a lot with this one. I do see it though with this. So hold on. Okay, so the lighter shades in both of these palettes do have a little bit of that fleck to them. And I don't know, hopefully I'll be able to like pick this up. Come on, focus here. So this is what I have on my cheeks right now. This is what I have on my inner corner. Sorry for the color stains underneath my nails, hairdresser problems. So I probably won't use the lightest shade in these as cheek colors, but I could absolutely see this being a fun inner corner to pop over something. I just feel like that's the formula in both of these. So I'm gonna take the third shade in and see if that does a little bit better. So just kind of like running. Now you could of course blend these all together. Whoa, that's intense. Whoa. It's metallic. It's pretty metallic. So it doesn't help that right now I am, like I said, the palest of my pale. I'm in my pale era, so that's not as helpful. This is beautiful. This is a little more than I would do. I'm gonna take another brush and just sort of like buff this one in. I don't know that that necessarily helped a lot. All right, definitely have some thoughts. I'm gonna go and collect those while I finish up my makeup. I'll be right back. All right, before I zoom out for final thoughts, I just wanted to show you this look when the skin is all set. I have to say, this is pretty. It's very pretty. It's just not my style because I do see little sparkles. This side, I don't really. I just see that beautiful like sheen, and that's me personally. So it just depends on what you like. Love the eyes. I'm here for the like soft but shapely right now. So could I have gone in ham with like darker mattes and really built up a major shape? Yes. That's not the vibe for me right now. So I actually really, really like this. Also, I do have to say I have really been enjoying this tubing mascara that I've been playing with. So I'll link it down below if you're looking for a very quick, easy tubing mascara that's pretty cheap. I don't know, there are just some days that I'm like, listen, I just want something that's gonna be really easy to get off. All right, so enough of the random interjects of things, but when I'm liking a product, I just have to tell you guys about it, and I don't want to wait till I do favorites. So that'll be linked down below as well. All right, let's talk some final thoughts. Okay, this was a lot of fun. It's been a while since I've had a fun makeup play date like this, so thank you to Nomad for sending these over for me to share with you, because let me tell you, just the joy of makeup, and I really appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit. I didn't share prices on these, but I did want to share the details. Both of the palettes are $39 a piece, which I think is a good price. You're not getting crazy complicated multi-chrome formulas in this, but you are getting some beautiful duochrome and shimmer shades. I think that that's definitely worth it with this. And like I said, I just think that Nomad mattes are just so beautifully reliable, and I really appreciate that. And again, I really appreciate the fact that you can mix and match these shades to create your own palette if you wanted. I did mean to take a peek when I was pulling out shades. Hold on, please stand by. So I wanted to see if these are labeled on the back. No, they're not. Okay, that is one thing. If you are someone where once you take things out, you want to know exactly where they go back, if the names mean something to you and you don't want to have to reference a brand image, that would be one thing. That's the only thing that's a little bit of a miss, but I'm sure to label all the back of these would have made these palettes way more than $39. That's just a lot. So that's one thing. So let's get into that whole like color story, sort of like desaturated versus the brights. Now, this palette, right away when I opened this, I thought of, actually, the vibe of all of this gives me a little bit of a redo on Fairy Tale Europe, where you have these Taste the Rainbow, Candy Yum Yum shimmers, and then you had more of those like neutral mattes. However, in Fairy Tale Europe, I think it was just the one row that is those like mattes, and so much less of a color variety. There was like no colorful mattes in there, and I was like, I mean, I love a good neutral matte to ground a color, but it is kind of nice to have some color to build on. So I think you do get that out of this. Obviously, there's a lot more shades here, so you'd hope that there'd be more variety. I think that some people might have a hard time pairing the softer tones in here with the brighter tones in here all the time, because you don't have any powerful colors as far as like the vibrancy goes to pair if you really do want a really like electric look, or if you did want to have something, you know, that has a little bit more pop to it. That isn't necessarily bad. It just depends on, you know, what you like in your mattes. So I appreciate that this is almost like that concept, but honestly done a little bit better for me. And if I'm remembering, I do have a video up on that palette, the Fairy Tale Europe. If I'm remembering right, I did find the texture of a couple of the Fairy Tale Europe shimmers a little bit more fussy. These so far, I mean, obviously I've only swatched a few of these. They're great. I mean, even with those very sparkly shades, I really didn't get a lot of fallout. I'm pretty good with my brush about not doing more patting to lay down the shades before you start swiping, because swiping is going to totally kick anything off. And so I think that these are a really good, beautiful Nomad shimmer. So again, like I said, I like the fact that you have a few of the more duochromatic with that more black base. You have a couple really light shades that have a little bit more of like that thinner texture, thinner not thinner texture, thinner base to them. Like it doesn't show up with as much color at the base. You get a little bit more of that shimmer over the top. They all sort of have like the same texture. So I really like these. I'm gonna have fun. Honestly, what I'm probably gonna do is I will definitely be popping out a few of these because I know that that's the way that I will actually utilize these, and that's what it's all about. There are no rules as long as you're finding ways to actually use your makeup. What I can see myself doing is popping out these blues, the blurples, you know, maybe even seasonally, knowing that like, okay, I won't use an orange until summer, so maybe I'll pop out the orange, and then taking a few of the mattes from here and pulling them into this palette just so that I can get like a really nice cohesive story with just one palette. I have friends, God bless you all, but I have friends who are like literally pulling out like 5 palettes to be able to like do an eye look, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, first of all, I don't have enough room out here, not because there isn't enough room on the table because I got so much stuff everywhere, but I don't want to have to do that. And so I can create my own out of this because these pans are removable. So thanks to the brand for that. Let's talk a little bit about these cute little highlighter palettes. So shockingly, this is the standout for me. This one, it's very pretty. And I have to say, like, I do appreciate this smoother texture. This is gorgeous. This last shade in here is just absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait for spring to be able to wear this. I'll probably do it through the winter too. I'm gonna be curious to use the sunset. So again, this is sunrise. I'm gonna be curious to use the sunset as I get a little bit more tan, because it honestly could just be that these reflex are truly darker than my skin right now. So that's just gonna make it show up as like a little reflect. So I won't really know my true thoughts on this until my skin just gets a little bit deeper. This one I'll have to play with a little bit more. It's so funny. See, that's why it's important to like use these things, because I would have honestly right away thought like, ooh, this one's gonna be it, and this one I'm probably not gonna wanna use as much, but I see using this one quite a bit. And these are $24, by the way. So these will be up on the site 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday the 23rd. And again, my code KEEPBEAUTYREAL will save you on this and any of the other Nomad items. So thank you for hanging out with me today. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Are you gonna be picking up any of these? What really like strikes your fancy here? Also, while I'm not going to be able to get to wear this for a full day, I will be able to wear it for a good amount of time. So I will let you know if I have any creasing, if everything seems to last really well. I'll just leave a pinned comment down below so that you guys can know how the longevity was on this. If it's like Nomad usually is, it's going to last really nicely. And like I said, dependability is what I've really come to expect from this brand, which is awesome to be able to have in this world where we're spending our hard-earned money on pretty. So thank you all so much. I will see you really soon.